The rain poured in relentless sheets over the bustling city as night approached. A tall, sleek figure in a tailored navy suit stepped out of a black limousine in front of an upscale bakery. Alexander Grant, billionaire CEO of the Grant Enterprises, had just finished a grueling day of board meetings. His face, though handsome and sharp, carried a weight of loneliness he never admitted. His success was legendary, his fortune unmatched, yet his personal life was an empty mansion echoing with silence. Across the street, Clara Hayes, a young single mother in her late 20s, hurried beneath a battered umbrella. Her daughter, Sophie, no more than 6, clung to her hand while juggling a small backpack. Clara's worn coat and tired eyes spoke of late nights and endless double shifts. Tonight, they were late to their tiny rented room after Clara's second job at the diner. As the light turned red, Sophie looked up and saw Alexander standing under the awning of the bakery. His presence was impossible to ignore. Polished shoes, a commanding stance, and the aura of someone untouchable. But to Sophie, he wasn't a billionaire. He was simply a man with kind eyes. She tugged at her mother's sleeve and whispered, "Mommy, look, that man looks like he a broken bar." Dad. Clara forced a small smile. "Sweetheart, don't stare." Before she could pull Sophie along, the little girl suddenly broke free, dashing across the puddled street. Scene 2. At the unexpected request. "Sir, sir," Sophie called out as she approached, her shoes splashing water. Alexander looked down, startled. His phone was halfway to his ear when he saw the small figure looking up at him with wide hazel eyes. "Yes?" he said, lowering the phone. His voice, though deep and commanding, softened almost instinctively. Sophie clasped her tiny hands together. "Could you a broken bar? Could you pretend to be my dad, just for tonight?" The world seemed to freeze. Alexander blinked, unsure if he had heard correctly. Clara rushed forward, mortified. "Sophie, oh my goodness, I am so sorry, sir." She scooped her daughter into her arms. "She didn't mean a." Alexander raised a hand gently. "It's all right." He crouched slightly to meet Sophie's eyes. "Why would you want me to pretend to be your dad?" Sophie bit her lip, her cheeks turning pink. "Tomorrow is a family day at school. Everyone is bringing their dads." "But a broken bar? I don't have one." "And a broken bar? You look like someone who could be a good dad." The words pierced deeper than Alexander expected. Behind his calm expression, something shifted. Memories of his own childhood, a cold mansion, an absent father always too busy for a hugger, flashed through his mind. Clara's eyes filled with embarrassment and a flicker of pain. "I'm so sorry." "She doesn't understand." Alexander interrupted softly. "What's your name?" "Sophie," the little girl said, shy but hopeful. "Well, Sophie," he said, offering a small smile, "maybe I can help." Scene 3. A dinner together. Despite Clara's protests, Alexander insisted on walking them to a nearby family restaurant. "It's the least I can do," he said, though he wasn't sure why he felt compelled to stay. Inside the cozy diner, the contrast between their worlds became painfully clear. Clara's hands trembled as she held the menu, unused to such unexpected company. Alexander, used to high-end restaurants and private chefs, found himself oddly comfortable in the modest surroundings. Sophie chattered excitedly, asking Alexander about his favorite colors, whether he liked puppies, and if he could pretend to read her bedtime stories. Clara tried to apologize again. "I really don't mean to impose." "We canna." Alexander shook his head. "It's no trouble. Honestly, a broken bar like this. It's been a while since I've had dinner that wasn't with shareholders." Clara raised an eyebrow. "Shareholders?" He chuckled lightly. "I run a company." "A big one?" Sophie gasped. "Like a superhero?" Alexander smiled faintly. "Not quite. More like a broken bar, someone who tries to fix things." For a moment, their laughter filled the small booth, and Alexander felt a warmth he hadn't known he'd been missing. Scene 4. At the hidden struggles. After dinner, Alexander offered to drive them home. Clara hesitated but eventually agreed. When they arrived at their tiny apartment complex, a appealing building with flickering lights in, Alexander's chest tightened. He had billions in his bank account, yet here was a hard-working mother barely scraping by. Clara unbuckled Sophie and whispered, "Say thank you, honey." "Thank you, Mr. Alexander," Sophie said with a sleepy smile. Alexander looked at Clara. "You work 2 jobs?"